Welcome to the Football Retro Podcast.
The word welcome, I guess, is stretching it a little when you're an Australian in a place like this today.
Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the Football Retro Podcast. I'm your host Johnny, and this is the last one for 2020. I'm joined here by my co-hosts, all of them, Thaddy, Hadasi and Akram. How you doing, guys?
Great, Johnny. Can't believe the year's over and the last episode of the year. Wow. Time flies when you're having so much fun. Really enjoyed the podcast.
You said that last week, you can't repeat it.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Put him on the spot.
Love it.
Right there.
Anyway, mate, yeah, doing okay. Back after a week off. I missed you guys last week.
Yeah, we missed your
that's right, you weren't here.
Missed your mind.
How could you forget, mate? How could you forget?
They must have not been notable enough for your
Oh,
presence.
shit.
Did you enjoy the episode, Akram?
Mate, I thought it was fantastic, you know. Shout out to your guest, Neil, right?
That's right, yes.
Thought it was awesome. Thought it was good.
So episode 21 already, end of the 2020 year. We started this as a bit of a...
I'm good, Johnny. Thanks for.
Well, you started talking
No
about...
one gives a shit, Fatty.
I didn't even. He finished.
Don't get offended, Fatty. It's okay.
Hey, you're the first one to mention by name. So
How are you doing, mate? How are you doing?
I feel like I'm just prejudiced now. I feel like I'm just being singled out and.
I'm so sorry,
marginalised.
mate.
About time you realised.
Yeah, thank you.
I was just saying, we started this halfway through the year in what was meant to be just, let's see how it goes. A couple of mates talking shit, talking football, and it's done pretty well.
Yeah, no, I think it's been fantastic, eh? Like, I mean, when do we start talking about it? June? Just having a bit of a chat?
We started recording in May, June, and we released it in July,
Far out.
August.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. Like, it's hard to believe that we've already got up to
Yeah, it's been a
episode
while.
21.
I heard the first few. I didn't jump on board till.
They've all
August,
been-
I think it was
Episode 4 was
You was your first one.
Yeah, so I
Your
did-
debut, mate.
my debut. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very subdued. Now Johnny's giving me more license.
Like
to
match
be free and
fitness.
Say what I want.
Johnny's giving you more license.
I've got a contract. There's a quota of how many times I can swear in that, so it's just a bit difficult. But I try. To
It's a bit difficult, is it?
You've got 2 left for this episode.
two left for the year.
Yeah, it's
Fuck me.
two challenges. one.
Ding! All right, let's get into this massive episode. So, did you want to start off, Adasi, by talking about Gerard Houllier?
Yeah, passing away of Gerard Houllier Monday night Sydney time, age 73 it was. He's had a bit of health issues over the past few years, and I think of Houllier and I remember his time at Liverpool, particularly the 2000-2001 squad that won the treble of cups, UEFA Cup, League Cup and FA Cup, and then they particularly that UEFA Cup final against Alaves where they won 5-4, one of the best finals in Europe that I've seen. And they got that more important, as much as they got the 3 cups, they had the Champions League qualification, the first time they qualified for the Champions League for a long time. And he did quite well for the club at the time, and he had his time as well at Lyon and Aston Villa, and also with the French team as well, and with the youth teams. And then he sort of towards the end of his career went the technical director roles, and sad to hear his passing. And a lot of people remember his time there. Harry Kewell was signed by Houllier at Liverpool when he was at the Huns. So, another one gone for the year. It's
I was going to say that it's been a year of a lot of notable football personalities passing, obviously. But just touching on Houllier again, I had a lot of fond memories of Houllier during that Liverpool era, and he was always a gentleman. You felt in terms of all the other managers respected him. There was none of that beef, or there was none of this, clashes or anything like that. He was always well respected. By other managers, by his peers, by footballers, by other teams. So it's sad to sort of hear that. I watched a small clip on Facebook last couple of days where he was referring to when Liverpool won the Champions League 2005, the AC Milan, and he was there doing some work for UEFA. Yeah, and obviously they allowed him into the dressing room, to the change room after that happened. And the players, he didn't mention which players, but he said a few of the players came up to him and said, boss, this is your team. Like, you built this team, and, we just, the fruits of your labour just, they just happen now. So he said that he was very humbled by it and whatever. And he, usually players are very standoffish when, it's a different manager because they don't want to show any loyalty to a previous manager or anything like that. But that's the kind of regard that they held him in, and what he sort of did, the relationship he had with his players. So,
yeah. sad, eh? It's a shame. It's just been the theme of 2020.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, you said football personalities, Paolo Rossi,
Also
that's
passed
right.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1982. Big name.
Yeah,
Passing
absolutely.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys, Football Retro had that up. Obviously, a small tribute to him.
Well, he was the only player on record to win in the same year the Ballon d'Or, Golden Boot,
yeah.
World Cup,
winner,
and there was one more, Golden Ball.
Yeah.
Best player.
1982.
Yep.
Yeah.
82.
So, and before that, he was actually banned for match fixing or
Oh wow.
Oh, really?
No.
for a few years or for a year or two. He was stood down, and he came back. Very controversial pick for the Italian squad in '82. So the coach was very criticised for taking him to the World Cup,
Yeah.
and the rest is history.
What is it with Italians and match fixing?
That's like a match made in heaven. Jeez.
Wow.
Oh no, they're very synonymous.
Anyway.
Like Real Madrid and Champions League synonymous.
Oh, I'll take out there.
Fuck! I thought we were going to go one episode with no Real Madrid references.
Speaking
but here
of,
we are.
man. Speaking of, we got through to the next stage, eh, Darcy?
Yes. That week, a huge week for Real. They were in crisis mode. They go one game without a win. That's a crisis there.
According to years, Zidane should have
Was
been
this
No.
was it episode 9?
No.
Episode 18 where he said
No.
Zidane needed to be sacked.
No.
Darcy, you're gonna
No.
Darcy, you're gonna
These
blow
guys,
it on his ears.
You guys sound like tabloid rubbish, but seriously, I said that what could happen if we don't make it, and given the way Real operate, hey, not making out of the Champions League group, would have been very surprised if he stayed on.
Johnny works for La Marca. That's why.
Yeah, one of those. But yeah, like that was a huge week.
You said that his job was on the line.
It was.
Check the recordings.
It was.
But I'm going to look through our chat now.
It
and
was.
see what-
It was on. I said it was on the line. I mean, that's the thing. Real,
Let's just
the way
search-
Real,
let's
the
just
way
search
Real
Zidane.
operate, the way Real operate is that if you're not getting results, you could be gone, and no matter who you are. But he got the results. They beat Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, beat Mönchengladbach, and convincingly too. They actually stepped up that game and
Absolutely,
played really
yeah.
well.
The last
And
few
then-
games. And
and
then
then
Athletic?
Bilbao, another tough
Yeah.
team. So
No, they just flipped the switch.
huge wins there, massive wins, and because of that, that win against Mönchengladbach, top of the group.
Can I read your comment?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Johnny was having a jab at you in our chat, and he said, we were referring to some results, football results, and Johnny was being smart and said, "Oh, there's a lot of silence here." When Real Madrid lost to Shakhtar Donetsk, and he said, "Must have shook a few people in here," referring to you, and your response was, "That was a fucking disgrace." This doesn't count as one of my swears.
No,
but-
that's his language.
That was
My WhatsApp language. Sorry, by the way.
For those of you who don't think Adasi swears, here's the evidence.
That was a fucking disgraceful performance. There are problems in the team that need fixing. If we don't make the round of 16, Zidane will be gone.
So very results-based, typical Real Madrid fans.
Plus,
They are.
Plus, the next two La Liga games are Sevilla and Atletico Madrid. Can you remind us what those results were?
They won 1-0 and then against Sevilla, and it was 2-0 against Atletico.
Yeah, it was.
There you go.
Well, I'm saying, like, Real operate where, Rafa Benitez was sacked after getting him top of the Champions League group and they were 4th in La Liga. At that time, Real were 5th and on the cusp of elimination from the group. So
This was on the 2nd of December, just to clarify.
Darcy sounded nervous, mate.
So this was
I'm just
this
saying,
was
ago.
just over 2 weeks ago.
I'm just saying, like, the way Real operate, your results, if you don't go away, you could be gone no matter who you
freaking out a
are.
bit.
So.
All right, I'm over Real Madrid.
No. Can I ask before we move on though? So after the last game they played, Zidane came out and said, "Karim Benzema, best French striker of all time."
Yeah.
How do you respond to that?
I don't agree.
Yeah. Shock horror.
I don't agree.
Does he know who Thierry Henry is?
Listen, a lot of respect to Karim Benzema. His numbers are phenomenal, and he's been at Real Madrid a very long time. People if you think of Karim Benzema, you think he's in his late 30s. That's how long he's been around.
Yeah.
But he's not actually that old. How old is he?
33 soon.
Okay, 33. Still,
Yeah.
he's still got a couple of years in him.
Yeah.
If you're going off, Cristiano's and whatever.
Yeah.
But he's done a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way he
To be fair though, most of that has been achieved at Real Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, all of it.
all of it.
Look.
Okay. So before that, it was nothing.
He started off at Lyon.
The French national team, he's had his run-ins with certain managers, and he had issues, and didn't go to squads, and didn't get picked, and whatever happened, obviously for different reasons, and there was racial or cultural reasons there.
Which,
with Deschamps
by the
and
way,
whatnot.
the way it's been handled is shocking. But
Yeah.
anyway.
But to claim he's the greatest French striker of all time
Yeah.
because of his record at Real Madrid, I think is a little skewed. Henry did it at different clubs.
Yep.
Henry did it for France. Benzema didn't do it for France,
Yep.
and he only did it at Real Madrid. So I don't
Well,
think
yeah.
I don't think that's really a fair.
Different type of players as well, I think. If you watch Real play, watch Benzema play, he does do a lot of link-up play in the midfield, tracks back in midfield and does that link-up play.
Henry used to do that too.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
Darcy, do you agree with Zidane's statement or disagree?
Nah, I don't think it's all time. I think the reason he said, like, there's probably the Arab connection as well. the Algerian blood, yeah.
You think maybe just a bit of manager
But
loyalty?
because they do have a lot of respect for each other, those two. But,
Do you think about a
yeah.
bit of
Yeah.
manager loyalty, just
Yeah.
trying to hype up his player?
Because Zidane, Henry wouldn't have been happy with that. Like teammates,
I know,
Yeah.
I was
won the
going to
World
say,
Cup
yeah.
together.
Well,
They played. They
Played a lot
practically
together, yeah,
They
yeah.
practically. Their whole France careers, they practically played together.
Probably
Yeah,
Zidane trying to build some confidence for.
yeah, possibly.
hope it works.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway,
Just quickly want to touch on Darcy's mate Lewandowski.
yeah, winner of the FIFA's best award, and the way Johnny said it, just by the way, the way on the Australian radio announcing on the news, which surprisingly they mentioned it, which I give him credit for on the radio station.
How do they say it? Darcy?
Lewandowski. It's Lewandowski.
Why are you so angry about it?
It's not
What
culture.
channel was this on?
It's 101.7, the classic hits.
Why listening to WSFM?
Nothing wrong with classic music, bro.
Are you going to send him an email?
80s and 90s.
Well,
So-
there's
Are you
your
gonna
problem.
send him
They
an
don't know
angry
who
meme?
Lewandowski
It
is.
sounds like personal beef.
Who's the
Version
the
2.
presenter?
I don't know, bro.
Like, you have to look it up.
On the
Do you
way
guys,
home.
just a quick one, do
Yeah.
you guys agree with him winning the best player of the year?
Yeah, I'd say so. He had winning the treble, the amount of goals he scored, I think he deserved it.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
I'm neither here or there. I don't know. This year's been a bit of a write-off for me, football-wise, in terms of
Yeah.
picking best players. And I just feel like it's been two stop-start, and a lot's happened to really fairly give it to anyone. I guess that's why there's no Ballon d'Or this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm indifferent about it, Akram. I don't
No,
know.
I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of feel the same way as you, Fatty, but I guess I'm like, yeah, sure, why not?
All right, let's jump into what's we're going to
Excuse
discuss.
the noise. I'm just having a Ferrero Rocher.
Go for it, Paddy. You work hard at the gym. You deserve it.
They're fucking
Let's-
addictive. Shouldn't have put them here.
Let's jump into what we really want to talk about.
Yeah.
So during the week, France Football released the greatest 11 of all time, as voted by 140 journalists.
Who was it? France football.
Yeah, same guys that do Ballon d'Or.
I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, this conversation brought a lot of different opinions, brought a lot of different discussion points. People agreeing, people disagreeing. A few spots there that are questionable. Apart from that, this is the silver team and the bronze team.
Yeah.
So we'll cover all three today, hopefully. But the gold one is the one that I really want to discuss and see what
Okay.
you guys think.
So you want to start with the goal team?
Let's start with the gold team.
Yeah. Okay.
So goalkeeper, Lev Yashin.
So yeah, look, honestly, it's hard to make an argument against Lev Yashin. Like a lot of this discussion really comes down to who do you leave out. I would be happy with Zoff, Yashin, Casillas, or Buffon because I can see the argument for any of those four. And so look, I felt Yashin was okay. What about you, Darcy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a reason why the award, Best Goalkeeper, was named after him.
Yeah.
The career he had. I mean, he was way before our time, but
Yeah.
from what I read about him and the stats he had and the performances he put in, I think for USSR back in the day, I think, there's well deserved.
What about you, Fatty?
I think the only thing that could work against someone like Yashin, as he stated, the fact that it wasn't from our era
Yeah.
or something that we watched. So that's why you could make the argument for someone that you're more
You saw
accustomed to in terms
Yeah,
of
a bit more modern.
watching their career unfold, seeing them, whatever. I don't know. Look, as you said, the stats are hard to argue against. The
Yeah.
stats are very fantastic for a goalkeeper. But in saying that, if you come out and say, look, Buffon, then no one would really hold that against you and
No.
say,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
think
because
it's
he's had a decorated and a very, very,
Amazing.
very
Yeah.
long career.
still going as well.
Yeah.
What
He's a
ab-
funny one, goalkeeper.
I don't think you find the goalkeeper before Yashin that sort of stands out or back in those days. Like in
No.
similar era to Gordon Banks, a little bit before him. but yeah, no one else. I mean, he's got the record of.
What era was it? You reckon?
He played in the 58, 62 and 66 World Cups.
But do you take into account as well that football was different back then?
He was.
Yeah, so
There was no
football's
back
evolved.
pass
So
rule.
it's very hard to compare. It's like the argument of, Pele and Maradona.
Yeah.
Okay, there were slightly different eras. Like there's a decade there, or 12 to 15 years between them. But
Still, Yashin saved over 150 penalties, which is a massive stat.
I
Yeah,
understand
it
that.
was amazing.
But in saying that, you were playing with a leather ball, it was harder to kick and it was heavier and whatever. Like, does that give the keeper?
So it travels slower.
Does it give the keeper a bit more time?
A bit more advantage.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variables there. You can't deny the man the stats.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So it's gonna
Yeah, I think it's a hard one.
it's
Keeper,
gonna be
right?
personal.
I think, yeah,
It's gonna be a
Yeah.
personal choice.
it's a hard one, mate.
All right, next. So they've put a 3-4-3 formation.
Yeah, which I think is so odd, to be honest.
Do you think
Yeah.
that's to include more attacking players?
I don't
Look-
think it's odd.
Yeah.
I think generally when people are making teams like this, they would always exclude a defender so they could have an extra midfielder or an extra attacker.
Well, we saw that last week when Neil made his Man United's greatest
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
So usually when you make your greatest teams, you make a 4-4-2, a 4-3-3.
Yeah, a classic formation
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
but
This one's a three at the
they went
back.
3-4-3. I think, like I said, to include more attacking players because they're easier to choose.
It, For me, it's regardless of the reason for it. Like they want to include an extra attacking player, which is totally fine with me. But what I have an issue with is why when you have a three-man defense, that kind of generally means that you're going with like three centre backs.
Correct.
And yet they fit
No
into a right
wing-backs.
back. Then you fit into a right back there. You know what I mean?
But
I was-
they chose a left back, a right back, and a centre back.
Yeah, which
That's
doesn't
true.
really
Yeah.
make sense.
I mean, that's true. I
But
guess
that-
Paolo Maldini is getting the spot in the back three defence.
Yeah.
We should say, by the way, the defenders are Paolo Maldini, Franz Beckenbauer, and Cafu.
Yeah, Cafu is more a wing back.
Yeah, but I think Maldini was more. Maldini could play in the centre as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He
And
wasn't
he
just
did,
a
yeah.
left back.
He certainly did. But do you reckon he got on this list more for what he achieved as a left back?
Correct.
Yeah.
Fair
That's
enough.
what I
Fair
think.
enough.
He was voted as a left back.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So what do you think of those back three? Maldini, Beckenbauer, and Cafu.
I think Beckenbauer earns that spot 100%,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
No
so
arguments there.
and so does Maldini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No arguments there.
Yeah.
Cafu, I love the player, and I think he should be up there. I would say possibly in the silver team. I don't think he
Yeah.
would be in the gold team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. I get where you're coming from there as well. For me, I find it difficult because if you're going to put him as a right back, sure, I guess so. I would like to have seen Franco Baresi get in the gold team, but like we said, if you're going to only allow one centre back
Yep.
for that role, then I guess it's Franz Beckenbauer, isn't it?
Yeah.
So would you change Baresi for Cafu?
If I was allowed to, hypothetically, then yes, I think.
You're allowed to do
Like
whatever you want.
in this defence, you're in charge of your own life.
I think.
I can see why Cafu made the list. I mean, given the type of player he was a great player down the right, and then what he achieved as well.
And he was fantastic for Brazil.
2 World Cups.
Yeah, fantastic
One-
for Brazil. He was a captain.
Could have won a hat trick if there wasn't, if things were differently in France '98. But other than that,
Great attacking player. How was he defensively?
he was pretty good, solid. I didn't see him make many mistakes. Like he wasn't like exposed too much. Like he used to go up a lot. And,
My opinion, personally, Brazilians don't produce great centre backs.
Yeah.
They produce great wing backs
Yeah.
because there's an attacking element to it.
Yep.
So your Roberto Carlos's, your Cafu's.
Yep.
So,
Now your more modern
Dani Alves.
Brazilian, Dani Alves,
Marcelo's.
Marcelo's, all the same ilk,
Yep.
wing backs because they can bomb forward and do that sort of stuff. Brazilians are very flair-based football style, love to
Yep.
attack. So it makes sense. In terms of centre backs, they had a couple that were notable. Lucio and
Yeah.
Lucio with Bayer Leverkusen and
Aldair. Yeah.
Aldair,
and a few like
Roque
that.
Jr.
But they see they didn't set the world on fire.
Yeah.
They weren't top 3 or top 5 defenders in the world, even though they won a World Cup. Or that they were involved in a process where there was a World Cup that was won.
Yeah.
They weren't players that were sought after.
No.
They weren't amazing centre backs.
And
It's
Brazil
still-
certainly didn't win because of their centre backs.
It's still surprising that between the gold and silver teams, half the defenders are Brazilian. The 3 of them Brazilian. We'll get into that a bit later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Maldini, Beckenbauer, and Cafu. Yeah, look, I wouldn't mind Baresi in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think Borussia has a spot.
All right. Anything else in defence before we move on to the midfield?
Well, if we're sticking with 3, that's all we got. But
Yeah.
Would you put for the goal team? Would you have preferred a 4-man defense?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Why
Definitely. I think defenders don't get enough recognition.
is that? Yeah.
When it comes to things like this,
Mhm.
it's always, as Johnny mentioned, attack based.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of defenders miss out because of this. A lot of great players miss out.
So then, as we get into the midfield,
And you can make an argument for a lot of Italian defenders that
oh,
didn't get an opportunity.
I'm inclined to agree. So as we get into the midfield, I'm curious to see who out of this 4 midfield you would leave out for a 4-man defense.
From what I'm looking at, I would say two.
All right.
There's 2 midfielders that I would
So
exclude.
what's the
Not that
midfield?
I'd play
midfield?
five. Not that I'd play 5 at the back. I just don't like the personalities. But anyway,
So the 2 centre mids are Mateus and Xavi.
Surprised Javi made it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a little bit surprised that both of them made it.
I agree
Really?
with Johnny.
Yeah.
Look, with all due respect to Lothar Matthäus, fantastic player. He's very versatile, and a lot of time in his career, he even played at right back.
Yeah.
So he could play that defensive role very well, and they utilised him. He was a great utility player for Germany. He was a great leader as well, and captain for a bit as well. But I don't know.
Greatest of all
Centre
time,
mid-
yeah.
To be the greatest centre mid of all time.
No, I don't think so. I don't think greatest of all time.
And
Really?
same as Xavi, like amazing player, out
love
of this
Xavi,
world.
yeah.
But to be the greatest, I think defensive mid is it. I think it was voted in that category.
Yeah.
Not really defensive. He's just more like a central.
He was a centre mid,
Yeah.
classic centre mid. Okay.
Classic
Yeah,
centre
he
mid,
was
yeah.
a classic.
I think they're shoehorning him in there by classifying him as a defensive mid.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned before, Fadi, about defenders not getting enough recognition. I think the defensive mid role doesn't get enough recognition.
Oh yeah.
Every great team's got a great defensive mid. Busquets in Barcelona, Kante in France when they won, Kante in Chelsea, as well.
Makalele,
Makelele,
Mascherano.
Redondo, Mascherano.
Yeah.
Like they're all these teams.
water
that-
carriers. They call
That
them.
that defensive mid role for me is
Yeah.
very underrated.
I'm inclined to agree.
I love that position.
Yeah,
I'm a little biased, but because I personally I prefer that position myself
Yeah.
to play in that role.
So Mourinho in the 2010 tournament that he won the treble with Inter, when they interviewed Mourinho about Cambiaso, he said Cambiaso is the quickest player on the pitch. Not with the ball, not with his pace, but with his brain.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
before he receives the ball, he knows exactly where the ball's going, where every player is. So he's the quickest player with his head, and that's the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
I
100%.
can see where he's come from. Yeah.
Central defensive midfielders in the last 20 years have to become real tacticians on the middle of the field, eh? They're responsible for turning the ball over from the defence into the midfield, evading press, especially nowadays, and at the same time trying to cover defence, spread passes around. They do it all now.
So who would you put here as the greatest centre mids of all time?
Honestly, that's a real tough one. Who do you put in?
You've got 2 spots now, really, technically. Well,
Xavi and Mateus are
none of
out.
us agree on Xavi.
Yeah.
No, look, Mateus is a funny one. I think Mateus is all time, but I can see your arguments for it. Like I think it's like I said before, it's who you leave out, and I don't know who I'd leave out in favour of Xavi and Mateus. I like Xabi Alonso.
I think notable mention here. I know it's not defensive, but we only got 4 in the middle.
Yeah.
And if you're going to play a classic centre mid, Zidane surely makes the cut.
To me, Zidane
Yeah.
has to be in there.
If
Surely
he's
makes
not
the
in
cut.
there,
Like in that, not going to play.
in
Not
that
going
more
to
attacking centre mid.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna say
Like
as Xavi, like he's just a pure centre midfielder.
Yeah.
Zidane has to make the cut.
To me, there's 2 names that 100% should be in this team. One of them is Zidane.
Absolutely.
I'll give you the other one later.
Okay.
But Zidane needs to be in there. I would happily take out Xavi for Zidane.
yeah,
I
I
agree.
agree. Yeah.
But head to head player, right now, pick Xavi or Zidane.
Yeah.
Zidane.
There we go.
Without a doubt.
yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
If you're gonna go by just midfield role, yeah, Zidane.
I'm surprised he wasn't even considered, based on purely if you look at his achievements.
And his
Yeah.
footballing
Purely,
ability as well.
forget about his
Yeah.
football. Let's just say we're not.
And his
looking at that.
achievements,
Yeah.
yeah.
Achievements alone, he should walk in that team.
One of the most decorated players of all time.
Yeah, he should walk into that team easily.
Yeah.
Could Di Stefano play centre mid? Or is
Yeah.
it too attacking?
For his career, was too attacking, but yeah, like he
Be
could
an
have.
interesting one, whether he'd have to drop back and.
But at the same time, like he's
Who else
classified
would
more
you
as an
put in there?
attacker.
Like if you're talking about later teams, or sorry, if you're talking about earlier teams, because we're talking about all time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you look at the great Ajax teams of the late 80s, early 90s? Like there are centre midfielders there that may not be considered. Like someone like a Reichard.
I
don't know.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But
And then,
like that's
and
more
then
for the
later
central
than
defense.
that, but I don't know. Look, I love Seedorf, Seedorf and Davids is a very
Edgar
traditional
Davids, yeah.
defensive midfielder, as Johnny was mentioning, but
Yeah.
I don't think he makes his cut.
Yeah, remember, we're talking about the greatest players of all time.
Yeah,
So, as you can mention a lot of different good players, amazing players,
yeah.
but we're
best of the
considering the
best.
best of each position for the history of football,
So-
which is massive.
So for me, when it comes to the centre of the pitch, Zidane more attacking. The more defensive-minded player, I think Xabi Alonso is the best central defensive midfielder
The way
of
he
all
read
time.
the game, it was crazy.
Yeah.
He was his
That's a
pass,
big
his
call.
vision, his passing.
Yeah, to include
That's
him
a
is
big call to
big
put
call.
Xabi Alonso
To
from
include
all
him would
time.
be a big call, but
Like you're excluding everyone from the last. Like
Yeah, I know.
Xabi Alonso is the last 15 years.
more, but like I don't. Who would you put over him as a more decorated central defensive midfielder? As a more talented player, it makes it hard.
Fernando Redondo maybe has
In
a
terms
case.
in terms of talent, I think he has a case,
Yeah.
but because of his injuries, he never
Yeah,
achieved the
didn't-
same career
Yeah.
achievements that
I know,
Alonso
he-
made.
exactly.
That's a fair point. I agree with
his
that.
career was cut too
In terms
short.
of pure talent, if he never had the physical injuries, who knows?
Exactly. Yeah.
I never really watched much of Reichard, but could he be in there as well?
He deserves a shout. Like he definitely was one of the most successful AC Milan sides of all time, as you know.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Fad?
Yeah, AC Milan, Holland, they did it. They had that great partnership going.
Yeah.
Hullet, Reichard, that whole dynamic was, that era that they all came up together.
Yeah.
But I'm just struggling to think of someone else to partner Zidane in that centre mid.
Yeah.
So let's pretend we're happy with Mateus.
Okay.
Mateus is done.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
pretend.
yeah. We all agree Xavi shouldn't be there, but
Okay.
no disrespect to him, but yeah.
Yeah.
Xavi, Iniesta's another one that
So can I ask, because
Busquets.
I was always confused when it's like I was always of the belief that the jury was still out on who was a better centre midfielder, Iniesta or Xavi. Right. So then when you look at this and see is he just clearly in the number one team, I was like, oh, okay. I thought there was a bit of a discussion on who was still better. Who do you reckon's better, Johnny?
A bit different though.
It's hard to say.
You look, they are slightly
like-
different on the pitch,
They're both class.
but when you come to central midfielders in that entire role,
Here's another one that we may have not considered. Deserves a mention as well. I don't know if he'd walk in, but Pirlo.
Yeah.
yeah,
Classic
Yeah, no,
centre
Pirlo,
midfielder
yeah,
again.
yeah.
Would he be of all time? I don't know. But, I mean, we keep trying to think of someone better.
Yeah.
So for me, I think if you were to put Zinedine Zidane and Andrea Pirlo, I'd probably have less of an issue with it than these two.
Also, another name, Patrick Vieira as well.
I love Vieira personally.
But not on this list.
On a personal basis, like Vieira
Yeah.
is probably my second favourite player.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'd make this team.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a good.
Why is that, you reckon? Like, I mean, in terms of career achievements, you might be able to compare him and say he doesn't make the cut. But in terms of talent and physical ability,
Yeah, but you said the same about Redondo,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think if you're applying
is that
the same
is that what
principle-
your argument
yeah,
would be?
that's where it is.
Fair enough.
As in terms of his ability and
To dominate on the
and
field,
role,
like, yeah.
yeah, he dominated.
Yeah.
I wonder if 20 years from now we look at this list and we say Busquets should have been there.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
like
another
him. I don't like him, to be honest.
He goes unnoticed, to be honest. Though he's
But
been
that's the
there for
sign of a
while.
good player sometimes.
It is, yeah.
We do the job where no one notices because there's
Yeah.
nothing going wrong in your area of the pitch, right?
Yeah, and I think if you think of the makeup of the Barcelona formation, the classic 4-3-3 that Barcelona do, especially during the peak, Xavi and Iniesta would do whatever they wanted to do, and Busquets really had to
Behind them.
cover for them
Behind them,
so many times. And also, he's an incredibly gifted passer of the ball, and he's able to move the ball around as well. So, I think Johnny, you make a really good point. I think it's a good suggestion.
In some of our coaching courses, we look at Busquets' highlights
Yeah.
for the role and for
Yeah.
body movement, body language, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I'm just having a look here just to re-jog my memory, but they're talking about there's a mention of Johan Neeskens, obviously the Dutchman,
Yeah.
and part of that World Cup squad.
Yeah.
with
He-
Cruyff and whatnot. But then again, we don't know much.
The thing
We
about
don't know
Neeskens,
enough to
right?
say-
The thing I was confused about with Neeskens, right, is like he's an incredibly talented player, but how much of a classic player was he for that central defensive mid area? Like he was a real expressive player that wasn't afraid to get forward as well.
So he's in one of the other teams. We'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll be later on.
I would say. I mean, Mateus. Yes, I think Mateus would be in the silver team,
Okay.
but I would put Pirlo there. That
So
would be my
Zidane and
pick.
Pirlo, you'd be happy.
That would be my pick. Yeah.
All right. Now, as offensive midfielders, they've put him out wide, but offensive midfielders, they've got Maradona and Pele.
I think they just had to put them both there
Yeah.
to say that they both put them in the
Two,
two, the
two
argument-
greatest players ever, and then
Yeah,
not in
the
to
argument-
be one of them not to be in the greatest ever
Yeah.
11.
It would then it would look biased.
Yeah.
So I think they just tried to squeeze them in.
Can't
I don't
argue,
ag-
can't
I don't-
argue against that.
I don't agree that Pele plays out wide as a midfielder.
Well,
No.
I mean,
Maradona
we put him
didn't
on the
really.
field, yeah.
And Maradona more of a free number 10 role, as we
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
So,
I've always said that to me, Pele is a 9.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
agree.
But
I think Pele's an attacking,
Yeah.
an out-and-out attacking player, not a midfielder that needs to do that sort of work.
okay, fair enough.
On the wing, yeah.
But at the same time, you don't dispute either of their places, right?
It's hard to dispute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be hypocritical because the argument has always been who's the greatest player of all time. And
Yep.
it's always been Maradona or Pele,
Yeah.
So to exclude one,
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
Fair
Hard
enough.
to go against.
I still don't like his
You still not a big
erection
fan of
ads.
Pele?
Oh, man.
Stop that shit.
Doctor,
man.
doctor.
Why?
I would.
Just why?
I mean, Maradona, hands down. We've spoken a lot about this the last month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Said he
He
had
should be
hands
the
up
team.
against England.
Sorry?
He had his hand up against England. He said hands down.
He's full of puns tonight, this guy.
He's on fire.
He's fresh. He's
Oh,
ready.
fire.
So, come on.
He's enjoyed himself.
So Maradona 100%. Pele, yeah, I think it's hard to argue against Pele
Yeah.
being in the best 11 of all time.
Yeah.
The attacking three, the front trio.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is a good.
Here we go.
What an attack!
I didn't
that
actually
is. Just-
see this, so I don't know. I'm going to be surprised. When
a
you
lot
tell
of
me.
discussion points.
Okay.
Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ronaldo.
Oh, it's a real tough one.
There's
That's
a lot
real
of
difficult.
players that miss out here. A
Yeah.
lot.
Oh yeah.
Just on what you've told me. So Messi, very hard to argue out of that. The consistency that he's done it with for the past 15 years, 16 years.
Something like that.
No, it wasn't that
okay,
long.
12 years.
Let's call it 12.
Okay, 12 years is a long time, Johnny, to be at the top. He's been at the top or very close to the top. Let's say the first couple of years he wasn't at the peak of his career.
Yeah.
But for a good decade, he has been the best, only challenged by Cristiano Ronaldo, or vice versa, give or take.
I think
Yeah.
his first Ballon d'Or was 2010, wasn't it? 09 or 2010?
2009.
Yeah.
And they won the treble.
So that's 11 years.
Yeah.
So to be at the top for that long,
Yeah.
consistently, you deserve to be in that. There's,
No,
the-
I don't argue against Messi.
there's no argument there. The same can be said for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, what
The
he's
same
doing.
argument can be made.
Yeah.
The man's been at the top and challenging Messi for the same time that Messi's been there.
And
It's been Cristiano and Messi, and if you go look back at Ballon d'Ors, they had a monopoly on it. Like it was just them.
other
two
than that
for
1 year,
such a long.
Modric. That's it.
It's just been
Yeah.
it's just been either Messi or
Yeah.
6 and 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11 between them. Modric's the other one, 12. So in the last 12 years,
11 of the 12. Yeah.
yeah, in the last 12 years, only one person has ousted them, and he had to be phenomenal. He had to have a phenomenal year, Luka Modric, and take Croatia to the World Cup final
Yeah.
Yep.
to even be considered.
Yep.
And even then, before they started winning it, they were around thereabouts in the top three when Kaká won it as well. So
Kaká
So-
was in 2009. wasn't
Seven.
it? Seven.
Yeah, 2007.
Yeah, it's the last time before anyone
In
else.
2008.
And Messi
Cristiano
and Ronaldo were second and third. Yeah,
There you go.
I think so.
So there's no left winger in history better than Cristiano.
Oh boy! So this is where look. I'm going to struggle
That's-
because after Fatty's
Well-
argument, it's like I don't know what to say.
What's the thing? If you're putting him on the left wing, or is he there because of
Okay,
the attack?
I put it this way. I frame it for you this way. Find the player that you think is better. That's fine.
Yep.
But then look at if they've been that consistent. Have they done it at that level for a decade?
and have they won?
Is
that
the
much?
question.
Would you include a Di Stefano up front in the
Yeah.
front three?
Absolutely.
Instead of Cristiano.
Absolutely.
That's what I would.
No, I wouldn't instead of. That's the thing. You might have to play with 12.
No, I, honestly, that's where it gets up. I'd put Di Stefano before Cristiano.
So can you give us a bit
reason
of
why?
dates, or just dates around? You know Di Stefano more than we do.
Yeah.
When did he start peaking around Madrid? When did he stop? What
So
years?
the funny thing about that period of time in football's history, like he got there, I think about 1953. He was already like 27, 28 years old. They had a transition year in 54. From 55 onwards, win.
So 6-7 years in a row.
Well, five European Cups straight in a row. Several La Ligas along the way. just with the most dominant team. And the thing about, like, people don't understand about the 50s, there were some talented players out there. Raymond Coppa, first Ballon d'Or winner. And a few years later, he ends up going around with you too. But the point is
Funny,
that
they
And
do
yeah,
the same thing now.
Pushkas as well.
Puskás gets their 68 at Darcy.
Yeah.
So from 55 to 57, that first 3 years, he is truly the one and only superstar on that team. Raymond Coppa gets there about the same time, right around Puskás.
Yeah.
But he had to beat Raymond Coppa, Kubala, and so many other talented big name players that we don't remember or people forget. In my opinion, I think Di Stefano is a top 5 player of all time. I don't think Cristiano Ronaldo is. So
Wow. Not a top 5 player of all time.
Cristiano Ronaldo,
Yeah.
no,
Not a top 5 player of all time. Wow.
no.
That's
No.
I can see
No.
why you're saying it. No, because you have to leave someone out.
Is he a top 10 player of all time?
Yes.
I think he's 9.
A number 9, and 9 out of the 10. Wow.
I think in my list, I think so.
Wow.
It's a list that always moves around and changes.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
that's fair
Right?
enough. I don't know. It's fair enough that it moves around, but I'm just surprised that he
That
just
low?
makes your 10.
It's tough because he's a Real Madrid player, eh? So you'd think I'd be really first
No,
one to
regardless
say,
of-
eh?
regardless
no,
of
but because
his
you're saying because of
club.
bias, you'd think I would be the first to.
No, I wasn't implying that you're biased.
No.
I was just saying based on his achievements.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he barely scrapes into the top 10.
Yeah, like, look, honestly, it just becomes down to the criticism that I have for football at the in this modern day and age. I think football is very unequal.
You tend to be more towards favour, like you appreciate
Favour
the,
the past.
the classic. Yeah,
Well,
the
for me,
older.
in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, superstars could pop up from anywhere and turn any small club into a major competitor. Nowadays, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, but is that a consequence of the era that we're in now?
Yeah, it
Because
is,
of the money
and so then
all that sort of
unfortunately,
stuff?
yeah, it is. So that's where he gets
Technology,
absolutely
everything's changed.
Scouting, money, of course.
Yeah,
it's not a knock on any one person, or it's just the way it is.
So he's a victim of the
Of
era
this-
that he's born in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
at least in my opinion. It's unfortunate. It's not that unfortunate.
So I'm sorry, Cristiano, you don't get.
I don't think
selected
Cristiano
that,
cares
'cause
what I
Akram,
think.
Unfortunately, doesn't rate.
We don't
you.
have time machines either to go back and play that time.
What about the number 9, Ronaldo?
I agree with that. To me, he's one of the best 9s I've ever seen play the game. What a player! And just think what he'd do without those injuries that he had, but he still achieved so much. Amazing man.
I love Ronaldo 9. There's a lot of players that would make that spot too. Theirs, but based on as
Talent.
Darcy said, based on what he achieved with the hurdles that he had.
Yeah.
Funny you talk about him now and said that his injuries and whatnot. I was watching Mourinho as well. I was watching a little snippet. He was talking about Ronaldo, and he said that Ronaldo. They asked him who was the best player that you've seen live. He said Ronaldo Nazario, Ronaldo 9.
Yeah.
And he said, and the guy asked him, and he said, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Raw, natural ability, the best player I've ever seen." And he's seen Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He's seen Messi. He's seen everyone.
Yeah.
He's seen everyone that you could possibly say is the best player to see live, based on their footballing ability. Jose Mourinho believes that Ronaldo is the best player that he's ever seen.
It's
Johnny?
hard to argue against Ronaldo as a number 9. Probably the best 9 of all time. But I said before, there are two names that I think should be in this team somehow. One of them Zidane. The other one for me is Cruyff.
Yeah,
I need to include
Does
Cruyff
Cruyff-
somehow.
does Cruyff-
Who do you take out? I don't know.
Well, then but see,
that's a good point.
I was
Johnny.
going to say,
like that.
say if you put Cruyff on the left,
Instead of Ronaldo, Cristiano.
yeah. But then what happens with Di
Ronaldo, Di Stefano. Yeah, what happens with anyone?
Because then,
Yeah.
are you going to say, okay, we'll take Messi out? Then you're
If
You're
stepping on too many toes
Yeah.
now.
if you gave me a choice between Cristiano and Cruyff, I'd probably take Cruyff.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree.
Maybe as well to add that different dynamic to the lineup as well, because you have someone like Cruyff there with Messi and Ronaldo as opposed to Cristiano's style. I don't know. It's something.
There's not enough players on the
Exactly, there's not enough field.
There's
Like,
not enough
that's why you'd
spots.
have Cruyff instead of Cristiano then.
Honestly, I think Johnny bringing up Cruyff, I think I'd be comfortable if I had Di Stefano on the left, Cruyff in the middle, and Messi on the right. I would be like, done. I'm done.
Oh, and leave Ronaldo out.
both Ronaldos.
Yeah.
And it sucks because like R9 was, we all love this guy. We all grew up watching him. But Cruyff, man, how do you leave him out?
I think Ronaldo epitomised that number 999, like a
R9.
a perfect 9, a perfect
He did
9 by definition of the role,
Yep.
as in what he was there to do. He wasn't there to do any other bullshit. He wasn't there to be fancy. He was there and he knew how to score, and he knew how to find the goal. And one-on-one, in any one-on-one situation, you would put your money on Ronaldo.
Even he still was fancy as well. Like he still had those
Yeah, he
amazing
had
array
little
of tricks
step
up his
overs. But
sleeve. It was crazy.
But it was efficient.
Yeah,
So in my 11, I would change.
even with the weight issues as well.
In my 11, I would change Xavi for Zidane and Cristiano for Cruyff.
Fair enough.
Fair point.
That's fair. I don't mind that. Yeah. And I would change Mateus for Pirlo.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. I haven't asked you before we started recording. Who would be your captain of this team?
Captain of the team.
Let's pretend the team's the way it is now.
There's so many captains material in there.
According to the team they've picked, who would you give the
Honestly,
to?
it would be for me. It's between two names, Maradona and Maldini.
I'd say Maradona, Beckenbauer.
I agree with him. I think I'm very traditional when it comes to this. I think a captain should always be a midfielder or a defender, someone that leads from the back, as opposed to someone who's up front. I don't like when a striker is a captain.
Really, yeah.
I feel like they're too distant from the team. They're not involved in the rut. Like when your team's struggling and you got to grab the game by the scruff of the neck or pull the team in, or any sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like it's someone that needs to be more central around these players. I feel more a midfielder or a defender should be a captain as opposed to a more attacking player. Maradona, you could argue he could be there. He's more central and he has that fight about him.
Yeah.
We spoke about those attributes. Beckenbauer as well, definitely.
I agree. Sorry, Maradona and Beckenbauer are the two names that came to mind.
Yeah.
Going on your point about captain being on the field, there's some coaches that don't like goalkeepers being captains because of that as well.
Yeah, I don't like
They can't argue with the ref. They can't.
Yeah.
Too
they're
far
involved.
from the
Maybe
action
too
at
far
times.
away.
Yeah, like Neuer, for example, as a captain. I don't like that. I don't think it works.
In Tottenham, Lloris is captain as well.
Yeah, Lloris, same crap. I don't like it.
So
I
I'd probably-
understand in a one-off, like if the captain is out or whatever, but not frequent.
To me,
Sorry to cut you off.
Messi wears the armband. He's not a leader. He's not a captain. Cristiano wears the armband. I don't find him very selfish to be a team captain.
But he's not in your squad anyway.
I'm talking about the team they picked.
as it is now.
Sorry.
Yeah. Mateus is a captain.
Yeah.
Maldini is a very good captain.
Cafu, captain as well.
There you go. A lot of my
It's
leaders and captains.
defenders. Honestly,
But
I'd probably...
to me, if Maradona tells me to jump, I'll buy a trampoline. Like he's someone you follow to
Buy a
death. And
Yeah.
Look,
Look,
he had that charisma about him.
It's not so much that I disagree because I hear your point. I think I think that
But you
makes a lot of
disagree.
sense.
But
It's not so much that I disagree because it's like if you make that point, it's like you know what I can see it.
But you have a different opinion.
Yeah, slightly because I think I would give it to Maldini or Beckenbauer because I think Maradona's charisma. He didn't necessarily need an armband to lead. So it's like regardless of who was the captain, the guy was going to be able to speak for the team anyway, and he was going to do his thing. Let him create, let him do his thing. I would give it to Beckenbauer or Maldini.
I
There
think
you go.
Maldini was too quiet.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, I didn't really see him.
He wasn't
get,
that in your face.
Yeah.
Get up and pick the team up on that. Like he had a grace about him and the way he played. And
Yeah.
I remember a quote. I don't know if it was Maldini or someone said about Maldini. I think it was Maldini. Correct me if I'm wrong. Darcy. It says where he said something along the lines of, "If you need to slide tackle to get the ball off the player, then you've already lost.
Yeah.
Like you've got to tackle by being on
I
your
think
feet.
I think that was shabby.
no, it was Maldini.
It was Maldini,
I'm
yes.
pretty
It
sure-
was.
was it
Now
Maldini?
that you said it, I
Yeah.
think it was.
Yeah, something about if you need to slide tackle to get to get the ball off the player,
You've
then
already lost.
you've
Yeah.
already stuffed up.
So we've discussed the golden team. Let's move on to the silver team. So the guys that just missed out and made the second team. Goalkeeper Buffon.
That's fair
Yeah.
because we said look, it's either Buffon or Yashin, and you argued for both. So
Yeah.
I see what they've done there. That's fair enough.
Yeah, what the Fon's
guess
done,
so.
what the Fon's done, and the
Yeah.
security you had
What do
with
you
him
mean
in
you guess? So
goals.
who else is it going to be?
You,
Casillas?
you spoke about consistency as well.
See, that's the only thing I was like, when we've talked about this before, I think I would put Buffon. But what do you reckon about Casillas? I think that's
Casillas-
a good
I
shout.
love Casillas.
Yeah.
Casillas is a mention too, but he might make the bronze team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Spoiler, he doesn't.
Spoiler alert.
Thanks,
So
for,
we'll talk about that later.
thanks for fucking ruining it.
Defend Roberto Carlos on the left, Carlos Alberto on the right, Franco Baresi in the middle.
One argument against Baresi being...
Baresi, there's no argument whatsoever.
He could have
Yeah.
even been in the dream team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roberto Carlos, the left back spot. Yeah, I'd say it's fair.
I mean, when you think left
But
back,
very
you
decorated
think,
career.
you think Roberto Carlos.
Absolutely, but are they playing him as a left back, or are they playing him as a?
He was chosen as the left back for the.
Yeah, but it's three. How do you play a left back as a three?
I get it. You're thinking too tactically. They're thinking
Yeah.
just votes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like
the
you've
first
got to
one.
have your midfielders are going to be up and down now, working like fucking horses.
And your right back is Carlos Alberto, obviously from the 1970
Yeah,
World Cup.
Yeah, fantastic right back.
That's an interesting one.
yeah.
That's an interesting one. I would dare say that I would put Lothar Matthäus there.
Okay.
It's a
He
tough one.
played-
He
he
spent
played-
most of his career as midfield though, so that's why it's.
He
it's
played
a
that
tough
role
one.
as he got older.
Yeah.
He played a lot at the back. And I remember him, because I don't remember the early part of his career, I remember him later in his
Yeah,
career.
yeah, yeah.
And what I saw of him at the back. And his captaincy was from there as well.
Yeah.
I felt he was a very, very strong player, even for Germany as well. So, I don't know. For me, personally, I would have put him in that spot.
What about Zanetti?
Yeah,
I love
I know,
Zanetti
but I'll
too.
probably...
Zanetti is another one of
He's
those
one of my
players.
favourite right backs of all time, Zanetti.
He's
I
one of
love
those
the
players
guy.
that you talk about longevity and serving and playing the game at a high level for a very long time.
Leadership, loyalty,
Just
Yeah,
class.
the
Yeah.
guy, how long's he been playing for?
He
How
played
long's Zanetti been playing for
And
at Inter?
He went to
played
Inter in the
16,
mid-90s.
95.
Mid-90s.
Yeah.
95.
And he retired
Wow.
20 years later.
Wow.
10, 15 at least. He won the treble in 2010.
20 years later.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
That's huge. Yeah,
He was one of my favourite right backs.
I was actually shocked. Sorry to get off topic here. I was actually shocked that Zanetti didn't even make any, not even, it wasn't part of the vote.
No, you're right. Now that you mention him,
He just-
Zanetti-
Is it because-
He just spoiled the bronze team.
Is it
as well,
because
yeah.
he didn't win that much? Because unless towards the end of his
Regardless
career,
of winning, he wasn't. I'm not talking about the golden, bronze,
Yeah.
or silver teams. I'm talking about in the
He-
whole voting system. He wasn't even
Even like on
mentioned
the short list of all players.
Nothing.
That's shocking.
as a right back.
I'm surprised. He was a great right back. He even played centre mid as well. He was great.
You have the list of shortlist players. When we get into it, I want to love to know who was up for a right back then instead of him.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll
Talk
get to
about
that.
Yeah.
All right, so centre mid we've got Frank Reichard and Pirlo.
Well, two players that I mentioned for the dream team itself. Surprising, I haven't even seen this to be honest. But Pirlo, I think, makes the gold. I'd swap out.
Test.
Yeah,
Matthäus.
Matthäus and Xavi. Matthäus comes here in the right back for me. Rijkaard again. That era, the Dutch era, that total football.
Yeah.
He could do a lot of things.
Very
so
commanding
I
midfielder.
think I think that's warranted.
Fair
I
enough.
think that's-
Yeah.
Rijkaard and Pirlo definitely should be there. Pirlo I would have swapped the other one, but I can see how they've made it here.
Yeah.
Attacking mid, they've put Zidane and Di Stefano.
See,
Yeah.
I think they've got the teams backwards. Like if you came to me and said this midfield was the all-time midfield, I'd probably take it. I'd say yes. If you said to me this is the
I agree.
this is the gold midfield, Zidane, Pirlo, Rijkaard, and Di Stefano, I'd say yes.
Well, Zidane's a shoe-in for this. But he
I'd
could
take
easily been a shoe-in for the greatest team of all time too. Zidane.
That's what I'm saying.
Like if you put this
Yeah.
midfield here and then
That-
up front, you put Maradona, Pele, and Messi.
Yeah, that's right, 100%.
Like it's
Yeah, I
There
would,
are so
I
many
would take
variables.
that as the greatest midfield of all time. If you said, look, this is what it is, take it or leave it.
Yeah, I could see that.
100%.
there are so many
absolutely.
variables on there.
Yeah.
So Di Stefano and Zidane, we've spoken about them. Hard to argue against that.
Yep.
Up front, three names. Two we haven't spoken about so far. Ronaldinho, Cruyff, Garrincha.
Oh, yeah. I think Cruyff definitely should be there at least, and he could have had an argument to be in the dream team. Ronaldinho, yeah, I can see. Well, great player, one of the greatest, but whether he didn't, I just feel like he didn't have more in him to do. Like he would have achieved more.
Ronaldinho's always a fan favourite because
Yeah.
of how entertaining he
That's
was.
what I'm saying. Is he there because the fan popular vote? I don't know, but he could have achieved a bit.
Once
He could-
again, then the argument stands. All right, if you take him out, who would you put in?
I think we're not really applying the same
Criteria?
criteria here. Like we're talking about longevity and a
Talent.
glittering career and
Yeah, yeah.
trophies and whatnot, and then we're saying, oh, but he hasn't been here long enough, and then we say another one, oh, but he has been long enough, but he hasn't won enough. But then one that's won enough, oh, but I don't really like him because he hasn't been there long. Like, we keep mixing it up. So, I don't know, look, it's just going to come down to personal preference. I don't think there should be one criteria that we apply to, because then because then every time there's going to be a different variable. If you say, look, the criteria is only trophies, then a lot of players will change. If the criteria is only longevity, then a lot of players, like someone like R9 is going to miss out.
Yeah. So the point still stands though, Darcy. If you're not sure, it comes down to who would you put instead. That's where, for me,
that's right. That's what
Ronaldinho is more about the impact he's had on the game. He made a lot of people fall in love with the game.
Yeah. I think it's justified. Ronaldinho should definitely make not the golden team, fair enough, but at least
trying to think of a left sided attacker that would want to.
You ask a lot of people who your favourite player of all time is, and they'll say Ronaldinho because of just the
what he brought. Look, what he brought to the game was unbelievable. Yeah. But
Garrincha, speaking of Garrincha, so it's been said that in history the World Cup's been won single-handedly twice. One was Maradona in '86, and the other one was Garrincha in '62. So in '62, Pelé got injured in the first game, and Garrincha took over the team and just led him to the World Cup trophy. Some say that he's better than Pelé. Another one that shows the party life, a lot of talks about prostitutes and sex and drugs and alcohol and typical Brazilian life. But it's hard to argue against having him in this team, considering how many people say that he was better than Pelé on the ball. And
if you've got people saying that, then he'll deserve to be in there for the appreciation.
So you're just going off people's hearsay.
No, if you've got people saying that, if a lot of people say that, I mean, I didn't watch the guy play, but
none of us. It was obviously before our time, before our era.
I'm going for what I read and what I.
He was part of that team, as you said, Johnny. That he was an integral part of Brazil.
So this front three. Once I read the Bronzes team, you might change your mind.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So far, from what you've heard,
who's the striker in the silver team?
Cruyff.
Oh, Cruyff, yeah.
So you can't argue. There's no argument there.
Yeah.
No, so you got Ronaldinho and Garrincha there. So some people are question marks around that, but who would, like Akram said, who would you replace them with?
Yeah.
So do you want to jump to the bronze team?
Yep.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper, Neuer.
I disagree.
Me too. Flat out.
No, don't agree with Neuer.
Which is what I was alluding to before.
So none of us agree with Neuer.
Yeah.
No.
I think they're a better keeper.
I'm not saying
don't get me. He's not a bad goalkeeper. World Cup winning goalkeeper, gun keeper. But is he the third best keeper of all time?
No.
That's what I was alluding to before.
You're missing out.
Casillas,
number one.
Zoff.
Dino Zoff as well. You're missing out.
I've been put a case for Schillervert as well.
Schmeichel.
I'm
not because of our host.
He's a ground nosy.
Oh my god!
No, like
come on,
I love it, buddy.
Like a case for him. I don't say he's going to be in there, but like an argument for him.
To my disgust.
Look at the beaming smile.
To my disgust, he's not even mentioned in the. He wasn't part of the voting system.
Johnny. Not everyone supports Vélez. Like, all right, bro.
He's won best goalkeeper in the world 3 times in the 90s. Not even Schmeichel did that.
I remember Schillervert, and I always used to admire his free kick abilities and think, what a fucking amazing.
Revolutionised the goalkeeper role.
Yeah.
Anyways, Neuer. So replace him with who? Casillas?
Casillas for me.
Yeah, Casillas for me.
Definitely.
All right.
And that's what I was alluding to before. Like, I don't understand why. Yeah, was Casillas even on the shortlist?
He has to be, surely. Zoff has to be on that shortlist, surely too. It doesn't make sense for them not to be.
I was shocked to see
Spanish. Estos son los que cadrones.
Yes, Casillas was. He was part of the voting system.
I didn't prefer not maybe on the line, but to Manuel Neuer, Oliver Kahn.
Really?
He wasn't part of the list.
Yeah. Wow.
Really?
Yeah, I'd prefer Oliver Kahn, man.
So fair enough. To give you Gordon Banks.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, Oliver Kahn is one that I forgot as well.
Yeah,
definitely. I would mention Oliver Kahn too. Not before Casillas though.
Yeah.
So the goalkeepers that didn't make it or were part of the voting are Gordon Banks, Casillas, Sepp Maier, Tommy Nkono,
Cameroon,
Peter Schmeichel, Van der Sar, and Dino Zoff.
Van der Sar, don't mind.
Would you put Van der Sar over Neuer?
No, over Neuer.
Those two.
No, I'll keep
Neuer.
I thought they missed Schmeichel, but they mentioned Schmeichel there.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's hilarious that Casillas didn't make it. I find that really
it's definitely Casillas. Casillas and Zoff would be very close.
Very close.
All right, back three. very German here. Paul Breitner, Sergio Ramos at the back, and Philip Lahm as well
I
at the back.
wouldn't have Lahm there. I'd have Zanetti,
Yeah.
or Thuram.
Okay.
I love Lilian Thuram
Yeah.
as well.
Ramos is one I want to speak about.
Why is that?
I love Ramos. Like, I think I love to hate him. Is he the third best centre back of all time?
No.
Look,
Here we
There's a
go.
couple
it's a
of
tough one.
Here
It's a tough
comes the
one.
Real
No,
Madrid
it's a tough one.
bias.
I'd
I
say
can
as a
sense it
pure
already
defender, I don't
emanating
know. If I was
across
to
the
pick a defender, I'd even case for Jaap Stam. Jaap Stam was an awesome central defender. He was a classic, hard-nosed defender. Great career that he had wherever he went. He was a key player for each squad he played in. But Ramos, I can see why he's in there.
Yeah, like to play the devil's advocate, who's had a more glittering career than him?
Yeah.
No, I was between three defenders.
Yeah,
Ramos is one.
yeah,
Cannavaro.
yep,
He's actually,
Cannavaro.
he's actually won a Ballon d'Or.
yep.
Yeah.
To win the Ballon d'Or as a centre back is pretty
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other ones you guys, I don't think you've heard of, is Passarella. He's part of the shortlist as
Yeah, I
well.
remember his,
Yeah,
I remember
of
his coaching
course.
days.
There you go. So he coached Argentina in the 98 World Cup. He was the captain in the 78 World Cup.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys know this, but Ramos just took over his record as the highest goal-scoring defender in the national team.
Wow, yeah.
And it took him up, I think, double of the games that it took Passarella.
yeah.
So it just goes to show the importance they played in the team. So between those three names, I couldn't argue with either of them.
Like, I think Cannavaro is missing on this list. I think you're right about that. I think some of the accomplishments were truly special.
Yeah.
But like I said, who's had a more glittering career than Ramos? Like, it's difficult to go past what he's achieved.
So can I
just-
give you the short list of the other defenders I missed out?
I was just going to say something about Ramos quickly while you bring that up. I still follow that same theory of his career. He's still playing currently. I feel
Yeah.
like for me, that excludes them a little bit from the story of.
So you exclude Messi and Ronaldo, Cristiano.
They're different. They're different breeds, but Johnny, they're probably the. As I said, they've been the
So you
consistency
exclude-
there for the last 12 years.
So you exclude Buffon.
Buffon's finished. Buffon should have stayed retired when he retired the first
But
time.
you can't put terms and conditions on your statements.
Seasons.
I don't know.
It is a tough one, though. Look, fair enough. I get what you're saying.
So sorry, centre backs, the ones I missed out.
Yeah.
Cannavaro, Marcel Desailly, Ronald Koeman, Bobby Moore, Passarella, Matthias Sema,
Matthias Sammer, the German.
Yeah.
and Gaetano Correa.
Look, Cannavaro, I definitely agree with. Definitely gets a shout.
Yeah.
Desailly, I think Desailly was a product of the partnership of that France back four. They had a solid back four, which was Lilian Thuram,
think
Marcel Desailly, Frank Leboeuf,
And
Laurent Blanc.
Laurent Blanc, sorry, as well, and
Lizarazu.
Vicente Lizarazu at left back.
Absolutely.
So that was a solid unit there.
They
I don't
all worked
think-
well together.
Yeah, I don't think Desailly stood out.
Fair enough.
Whereas someone like Cannavaro, I think he led. He had various partners. Like he did it with Nesta. He did it with. I forget his name now.
So Cannavaro or
For God's
Ramos.
sake.
Honestly, I would say Cannavaro.
Cannavaro out of that short list there.
Well, Cannavaro or Ramos? Before we move on.
Cannavaro for me.
All right.
Kind of, because Ramos has like he's evolved in the past, say, 6 to 7 years
Yeah, I
as
feel
a
he's
defender.
different
He's matured more as a
Yeah.
defender, a lot more. He's more solid at the back compared to before, and I think, yeah, that's.
So I want to move on to the right backs. The short list I missed out. Obviously, Lahm won it, but we've got Giuseppe Bergomi,
Yeah.
Jalma Santos, Gentile, Manfred Kaltz, Wim Subia. Sorry if I say
Don't know who that
sorry
is.
to the Subia family if I said it wrong. Lilian Thuram and Bertie Vogt.
Yeah, Bertie votes.
Yeah.
Gentile, I think that deserves a good shout out. But like that's said, like
Zanetti.
well, I think we're all just lean to. We would have loved to have Cincinnati there.
Yeah, I don't like Lahm. Lahm,
No?
too modern again. Same thing. He reminds me a little bit of Mateus when Mateus played that defensive role. And I just felt he wasn't very.
How can Zanetti not be here?
Yeah,
It's a
Zanetti's
crime.
got.
No,
Zanetti's got.
that's a
yeah.
shocker.
That's definitely an oversight.
And left backs, Brahimi, Cabrini, Jacinto Fascetti, Junior, Ruud Krol, Marcelo, and Nilton Santos.
None of them really stick out for me. Andreas
Oh,
Brahimi,
really?
yes.
Yeah.
Nah, see, I think
Fascetti.
I think Marcelo should be there.
Okay.
I think there's an argument that Marcelo is a better left back for Real Madrid than Roberto Carlos.
Ooh,
No, I disagree.
Nah,
And you
sorry.
picked him in your
he did. Yeah.
the greatest 11 episode
Look,
one.
when it
That was
comes-
our first ever episode.
Yes.
it's good to really got hark back to it
We've
now,
come a long
at the end of
way.
the year.
So Paul Breitner won the
Yeah.
spot there.
Yeah, okay.
So let's move on to the centre mids, Didi and Niskins.
Yeah, so this was the funny one that I said before. Neeskens, he definitely had a lot of freedom to move forward, playing that total football system. Cruyff would come back and swap out with Neeskens as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he's a fantastic player. I definitely think he deserves a spot.
Yeah, I agree.
But just at the centre defensive midfield spot, the centre mid spot.
They call it the defensive mid, but it's really the centre mid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a defensive.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't shield the back.
And
I don't know much about Didi to comment.
Brazilian, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, before our time again. So
Yeah.
it's really.
Played in like the 1970
It's
World Cup.
Is it just the
statistic,
70?
mate.
Was that before 70? Or
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think he's talented enough, but I don't think we know enough
Here's
about him.
Here's a question: these people that choose the best team of all time, how old are they? Surely
There are
like,
140 different journalists.
So you could range from.
Okay, but they could be our age. They could be a little bit older.
But
They could have not seen some of these
They
players.
could have been in their 60s.
Like, they may not have ever seen Lev Yashin.
Yeah.
Of course,
Same
and
shit.
And Di Stefano.
Yeah, so same shit. They would have just picked based on the stats, so it doesn't make their opinion any better than ours.
So the
So fuck you.
and now he's got beef with the French too. You got
This is the personal beef with French football.
These poor guys all.
France football. Yeah.
So defensive mids that missed out are Boschick, Busquets, Falcao, Gerrard, Gerson, Guardiola, Massapust. Thanks for coming.
Wait, I can't see. Oh, here we go.
Massapust. I've never heard of
No,
him.
sorry.
Redondo,
Yeah.
Schuster, Seedorf, Luis Suarez, obviously the Spanish.
Yep.
Suarez,
Yeah.
Tardelli, Tigana, and Xabi
Oh,
Alonso.
Jean Tigana,
Yeah, Alonso.
former Fulham coach.
Yeah.
So for me, I think Luis Suarez deserves a shout. You know, was instrumental for Cataneccio for Inter in the 60s. And I think Xabi Alonso deserves a massive shout out here.
Well, based on this list, I would say then Seedorf will get an honourable mention too.
Seedorf.
He's done it at a few
And,
clubs.
and Redondo.
Yeah,
as well.
man.
Busquets and Redondo as well.
Redondo.
Yeah,
as well.
Busquets and Redondo, yes, but I'm saying after that, like for example, where is it? Jean Tigana. Okay, I understand he did it with France and whatever, but
Yeah.
I would have put Seedorf ahead of Jean Tigana.
I like this is the interesting stuff coming up now.
Here we
Attacking mids for the bronze team.
All right.
Iniesta and Platini.
Ooh.
So Darcy,
That's
please
his
can we
personal
please objective of Darcy.
I'm sorry to say the name of Darcy.
No, they settled the beef 2
Please
episodes
don't
ago.
get triggered, mate. Please.
Episode,
Nah.
Sorry, was it episode 19?
It was episode. Was it 19?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
This is 21,
19.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 episodes ago.
I laughed when I saw this list. Actually, every time I see that, I can't look at Bettina the same again. But
Why? Ever since he kicked you out of the chat.
nah, look. All that aside, as a player, he was a great player for the French, for Juve. I think he deserves his spot there.
Look, it's not about Iniesta or Platini personally. It's more about the players that missed out.
Okay.
So can I give you, before we argue this too, can I give you the ones that missed out?
Before you continue, Iniesta I don't think makes best of all time.
Wow.
I love the play and I think he was amazing. I think there's better midfielders there or attacking midfielders.
I can think of a few. Yeah, go on the list.
Roberto Baggio,
Ooh, yeah.
Bobby Charlton,
Bobby Charlton, yes. I don't think Baggio is better than Iniesta from what they've achieved.
Francescoli,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ruud Gullit,
definitely would call it.
Haji,
Yes, I do.
Coppa.
I don't think Haji have Iniesta.
How'd you have Iniesta? Yeah.
No.
No, not over Iniesta.
Haji, Coppa, Kubala, Mazzola, Puskás,
Puskás, yeah.
Rivera, Shafino, Socrates, Totti, and Zico.
Socrates as
Yeah.
well. Totti, respect
It's
to
so
him.
difficult, guys. It's
Yeah.
so
It's what he's
difficult.
done.
It's a hard.
Out of that list that you said that just missed out, I think there's 3 that really stick out: Charlton, Francescoli, and Ruud Gullit.
So not Baggio.
Or Puskás.
No, I wouldn't put Baggio ahead.
A lot of
Iniesta.
people mention Baggio as an all-time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baggio was more of a 10 for me. Aside from
But
These are
Aside
tens,
from
right?
the
These are
positioning wise-
offensive midfielders, right?
Yeah, aside from the positioning as a player,
but he doesn't play as a midfielder, so I don't feel like I can put him there.
Yeah, no.
as
It's
a player. So you don't think he deserved a spot in any of the 3 teams
Okay, for me personally, I'll choose Ruud Gullit.
Okay.
See, I would have put Ruud Gullit over Didi in the middle of the park because I think he did a lot more in the centre of midfield.
Did he?
So you're saying Gullit
He was
and
definitely-
Baggio. Terrible, just terrible.
No, I'm saying that I would put for the offensive midfielder role. I think Baggio was an all-time number 10. I don't think he's better than Andre Iniesta.
Okay.
Yeah, Darcy, what do you reckon, mate?
What's
We're good.
extremo derecho?
Rowing.
Also,
He said Hadji, and I'll take him over Iniesta of the two. I'll take Hadji.
really?
And I just
How'd you have
have
Iniesta?
No.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I think the way Hadji played
Also,
the game,
are we
his
saying-
influence for Romania, what he did in his career at the club level, he did.
Are we saying
But
that?
did he do much at Barcelona?
It was a couple of years.
I think that's is just his bum's hurting from Iniesta raping Real Madrid so much.
That's why I hates it. I didn't even think of that connection, but there you go.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about the front three.
Jeez.
We ended on Adasi's butt hurting.
Look at this front three:
Here we go.
Thierry Henry, Van Basten, George Best.
Yeah, that's a formidable attacking three. Honestly,
Oh, Akram's
Like-
not happy. Akram's not happy.
three players in their prime. You would have loved to have in your team. Van Basten, obviously, unfortunately, career cut short and retired early because of his injuries. Best, we spoke about last episode.
Yeah.
One of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
And Thierry Henry, a lot of people will be familiar with more recently, and he's done it everywhere.
When
Best,
you,
we said we were talking about it before. Best French striker of all time.
some of the
Yeah.
names that missed out to me are insulting that they were part of the argument
Now we've got the
They
three
were
teams. There's a few
insulted
names
that
that
they
are-
weren't, or they were.
that they were.
They were.
Yeah.
Like who?
So this front three. Anyone want to say anything before I? Give
I mean, I'm gonna upset.
Akram's
I've
already
got a
pissed
name
off.
that pops
Yeah,
up.
I know
No,
you're gonna eliminate.
I'm happy because I'm gonna trigger Fatty.
Yeah, I know he's going to trigger me. Here we
you
go.
gotta take out Henry for who?
Pushkas.
Okay.
That's fair enough. I'm not
Yeah.
upset. How does that trigger me?
Mate, look at your face. I can see the trigger coming.
Okay. You brought up a good name though.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
The ones that missed out: right wing, Eto'o, David Beckham.
That's not. No,
Come
no,
on,
no,
Beckham. No.
No.
Eto'o, Beckham, Luis Figo, Jairzinho,
Figo's more of a midfielder for me.
Kevin
Yeah.
Keegan, Stanley Matthews, and Robin. Ian Robin.
So, who insults you
Oh,
there,
wow.
Johnny?
David Beckham to be even part of this conversation is an insult.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fair enough.
agree.
Even Eto'o, like, is a good player, but to
he was
be
more a
considered-
striker. Anyway.
Eto'o's more
Eto'o's
a
more of a
nine.
nine,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but to be
agree.
considered in these conversations, I think is a
Fine
bit-
striker, but yeah.
Had a
They
great
just-
left back performance
I
against
think
Barca.
I think
in
they
the semis.
I think they threw
Very
Beckham in
good.
there to suck in people that weren't football minded. Oh, David Beckham.
Yeah, I don't know why Beckham's. No disrespect to Beckham, but
He wouldn't be who
No,
can-
disrespect him because he doesn't belong on this team. He doesn't belong in the attacking three.
He wants no more personal beef with anyone.
Platini's enough, man. Platini's enough.
All right, that's the right wing. So I think who did you say had it? George Best wins it easily.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah,
Left wing instead of Henry, we've got Oleg Blokin,
yeah, Ukrainian. Yeah,
Dragan Jazic, Ryan Giggs,
Two box heads there, too many.
Ryan Giggs, Rivaldo,
Yeah,
Rivellino, Rummenigge, and Stoichkov.
Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. Yeah. Stoichkov again was more of a 9.
yeah,
And I loved him for Bulgaria in '94. He was amazing.
yeah.
He did play wing for his early part of his career,
he?
especially for Barcelona with Romario. He played left wing as well.
I mean, you had to
3-4-3.
accommodate Romario.
You had to, yeah, it's
His
Romario.
prime, you know?
If I had to pick from any of those, though, I would definitely not pick Ryan Giggs.
Rivaldo maybe.
Rivaldo maybe, but I'll stick to
Over Henry?
If I had those choices, I'll pick Henry.
Yeah.
If I'm sticking with those
Yeah,
choices that
yeah.
they've given me, I'll pick
Yeah.
Henry.
It's hard to
Yeah,
argue
yeah.
against Henry actually. Yeah, I can't.
Same as the right wing. If all those choices, I'll stick to George Best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with George Best as well.
And then number 9,
This is interesting.
instead of Van Basten, we've got Dennis Burkham.
Wrong. I don't agree.
He should be in the offensive midfield section anyway.
Dennis Burkham.
I don't think Burkham makes any of those 3 teams, to be honest.
fair. Yeah.
And I love Burkham,
No.
but that's a personal thing. I don't think he makes those teams.
Kenny Dalglish, Eusebio, Sandro Coxis, Gerd Muller, Romario, and George Weah.
Okay, one name. Great names there, but one name missing. Batistuta.
As a 9. No,
Oh,
I don't know who.
Did any of the teams? Did he?
No, he wasn't mentioned at all.
Jeez.
I don't know who Coxis,
Shearer.
Sandro Coxis is.
As well, like Batistuta sticks out for me. Like,
As a 9.
yeah,
George
think-
Weah sticks out
Yeah.
for me. George Weah's done a lot,
yeah,
especially
yeah,
in Milan.
yeah. And
Yeah,
won a Ballon d'Or as well.
It's,
Yeah.
it's hard to have 3 starting 9s and not have Muller in any of them, considering
Yeah.
the amount of records he's had.
That's what I was going to say.
The goal
Johnny.
scoring abilities.
Yeah.
Gerd Muller,
Records
yeah.
that just Messi broke now from the 70s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the fact that you've got 3 teams and you're goal scoring, one of the best ever, and not part of the team.
He should definitely be in there.
Once
But
again, who do you
do you
take out?
take out Van
I'll
Basten?
take out Van Basten purely because Van Basten naturally was a very, very talented natural footballer. But to retire in his 20s, as he did, really will take him a little bit out of the equation.
Would you consider Cruyff a 9?
I mean,
You can,
False
Yes.
nine.
you can
or-
play.
Yes.
You can play in there, but
Yeah, a little
False
bit.
nine,
A little
maybe?
bit. I
Or-
would. Not much.
yeah.
I wouldn't categorically
Would you
say
put him
he's
as a false
purely
nine?
that.
Yeah, you could put him at false 9. Look, at the end of the day, whether you put Cruyff anywhere in the front three, I think that, what do you call it? I think Gerdmüller and Eusebio have to have a mention instead of Van Basten.
I agree with you, Sabio, as well.
Yeah.
There's too many. It
It is a difficult conversation, isn't it? And you don't
It's
want to
hard.
disrespect anyone and
No, it's not about
criticize.
disrespect.
You
I
know
don't
what
give
I
a
mean?
shit. I'll disrespect whoever. But I think
Love
that
it.
when someone pops up and you think, oh wow, then you start to
Yeah.
assess that player and whether they deserve to be there or not. Then it becomes very difficult.
so to finish off 2020 and the podcast for the year,
Yeah.
Oh wow, that quick already.
let's recap the greatest team of all time according to a mixture of French football and us.
Okay.
Yashin in goals. We're gonna go with the French football.
Yeah, we'll just go from
3-4-3.
scratch.
Paul Maldini, Beckenbauer, and Cafu. What did we say about that? Are we replacing Cafu with Baresi?
I would
Yes.
prefer, yeah.
All right. So Football Retros 1, we replace Cafu with Baresi. Centre mid, Mateus and Xavi. We replace Xavi with Zidane.
Yes.
Yep.
And are we keeping the other one on?
Who's the other one? No,
Mateus.
Mateus.
I disagree with Mateus, but
I'd keep.
majority wins. I'll
I'd
say.
keep Mateus.
I'd put Pirlo.
My pick was Pirlo.
I'll keep Mateus over Pirlo.
So
Oh,
it's
it's
a
a
draw.
tie.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Can we get someone else to come in?
So Maradona and Pele are staying. Up front, Messi's definitely on. We said Ronaldo will stay as a 9.
Yeah,
And then Cruyff instead of Cristiano. Are we happy with that?
I agree with Cruyff.
I'd say the two Cruyff.
Yeah, I'll take that.
So,
Very, very close though. I would say very, very
so
close.
Cristiano out top 11.
Sorry, mate.
He doesn't care. Fatty doesn't care.
He'll
He's,
just
What are you telling
respect
me?
you.
he's happy to.
I was talking to you. I was talking to Cristiano.
Oh, you're talking to Cristiano.
He's going to listen to this, right?
All right.
Say something in Portuguese so he doesn't get pissed off and start unfollowing us.
Fuck him.
You have a personal beef with us now.
What does that mean?
So, in all honesty, guys, thank you for the ones that are listening week in, week out, giving us feedback. Like I said before, this was something that was started as a conversation. Let's see how it goes, and it's growing every week. We are enjoying it, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. Anything you guys want to add?
I'm doing it because I get free drinks when I come home. That's all.
It's been fun. I've really enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed every episode. It's been great getting together, having a chat about football, the sport that we love, and looking forward to more great episodes.
As always, let us know what you think. Comment.
Oh, where's his line, bro? Let him
Akram.
say his line. Say the line.
Say the line.
Say the line, Akram.
Now, please like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what your top 11 of all time was. Did you disagree with any of our opinions here? And please, because it helps out the YouTube algorithms.
What about the algorithm?
Fuck you, fatty.
Everyone listening, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New... Sorry, am I allowed to say Christmas, Akram, or is anyone going to get offended?
No, we're just happy holidays, guys.
Fuck this PC bullshit. Merry Christmas,
When
Happy
are we
New
back,
Year.
Johnny?
We're back sometime in January.
Sometime in January. That's very vague.
Okay. The way I like
Cool.
it.
See you
Stay
guys sometime. See
So
you
keep an eye
sometime
on
in
keep an
January.
eye on the website, footballretro.com. Anything you want, let us know.
Back with a bang.
Have a good night, guys. See you later. Bye.